What's going on there, folks? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster here on this Monday night, May 23rd, 2022 date, about 7:30 p.m. California time. Latest quake shows a 1.9 earthquake into the area over here once again. Let's go ahead and check out what's going on here around the USGS map. Actually, we're going to start off here with the EMSC model. Stand by for just a second. Hopefully everything's working as it should on your side as it is on mine. I know a couple folks were saying there were some issues going on last night with the stream, or at least with the update video. But like I said, hopefully everything's working pretty efficiently tonight. So some activity up here into the strait here of Gibraltar. Is that right? Looks about right. Quite a swarm of activity. This has been ongoing here for quite a few days now. You can see that cluster up here in the area. I know USGS is not showing that earthquake activity. Right now it's just a bunch of twos and some smaller quakes over here. And it looks like it's just north of the Morocco area into this sea region. Again, nothing showing up here from the USGS models, even on the well, it looks like 30 days is showing some activity up here. They did have a 5.5 a few days ago, looks like about 3 days ago or so, including a 4.0 within this region. So a little hotspot area. Nothing major going on currently though. Just a bunch of twos in that region according to the EMSC model. Let's go ahead and check out Hawaii first. Getting some movement kicking up here on the live seismograph stations here. I seen that kicking up earlier. A lot of it was kicking up right here, right around the Mauna Loa area and areas to the west, but I'm not seeing anything being reported here from the USGS. I do have a station on the live stream called the Alea Permanent EHZ station. It does monitor earthquake activity around the western portions over here. And nothing really showing up here from the USGS model. But again, it doesn't surprise me with the kind of intermittent reporting here on those folks' side. Looking at the activity they have reported, shows most of it down here around the southeastern flank, and movement, little small microquake activity stretching from Kilauea up to the Mauna Loa area. But no major swarms or any unusual activity to report, at least over the last 24 hours. Movement throughout the Pacific Northwest has been, well, kind of spotty as well. We had some movement around the Mount Rainier area. Mount St. Helens not showing anything, but we'll check out the volcano activity here in a little bit. Some movement outside of Salem. This earthquake, pretty old. We haven't seen any further movement within that region. Today, down here in Northern California, we did see a little activity kick up here around my neck of the woods here, of all places. I know there's no major fault boundaries here, but look at the depth right here, 16 kilometers, okay? So that tells me right there that it's somewhat of a subduction zone earthquake and has to do with the ongoing tremor activity here along the Cascadia Subduction Zone. We notice this a lot whenever we see high amounts of tremor into the southern end of the Cascadia. It ultimately affects the surface regions up here that it's kind of dipping underneath. So we did see a 2.7 earthquake near Hamilton City. I did not feel this earthquake here in Chico. Looks like 16.2 kilometers. I'm not for sure if anyone felt it. Doesn't look like it. The magnitude level and the depth would kind of put a damper on anyone feeling that earthquake within this region. So just got to watch it. Sometimes we see these earthquakes pop up here around the surface level because of everything of what's going on down here in the subduction zone. And so on that note, I'm going to switch over here to the tremor map and show you guys a pretty large number of tremor activity once again tonight. 645 epicenters of tremor. That's a pretty significant number here for one day. And this is the second day in a row with those type of numbers, that type of tremor going on. And look at up here in Northern California. I know Chico sits way down south here, but you got to remember the subduction area, the tremor movement, what it's doing up here, not only to the surface levels, but further downstream Could also be affecting, possibly here in the future, some volcanoes here in Northern California. Got to watch that pretty closely. But there's definitely been a large amount of tremor activity, I'd say over the last week now. And it's kind of showing that there on the map. Getting these lines closer and closer together, folks. What does it mean? Well, that means it's getting more and more active here in the tremor department. Does it mean that there's a big earthquake coming along the Cascadia? Well, we don't know that specifically, but it's something to watch and monitor very closely, because I think the more and more tremor we have, the more and more likelihood that we do see a possibility of a mega quake here along the Cascadia Subduction Zone. So we've got to watch that pretty closely. Again, 645 epicenters of tremor, mostly here into the Washington area. Look at Seattle, south of Seattle. It's a pretty good length of area seeing that tremor. Again, underneath, about 35 kilometers on average into the subduction zone below the surface. And the same there for Northern California. We did see some activity up here to the north, including a 2.2 near Carlton, about 15 kilometers below the surface up here. Around the Strait of Juan de Fuca, a couple smaller earthquakes here, but notice the depths here. Around the Oak Harbor area, 1.0 at 26 kilometers, some deeper movement. And a 30-kilometer deep here, 1.9 in the BC region on the Vancouver, southern part of the Vancouver Island ranges. Let's go ahead and check out the rest of California. We did see some activity outside of Reno, just to the southwest. And it looks like near Florestan, California, a couple small microquakes in the Carson Range, little mountain range up here north of Lake Tahoe. Again, somewhat deep here, about 10 kilometers or so below the mountain ranges outside of Gardenville. Looks like a little activity as well. Gardnerville, that's right, Gardnerville, Carter Springs area. And a little spotty activity stretching down through the eastern part of Sierra Nevada. Some movement around Tonopah. And looks like we're filling in a little bit here within the last hour outside of the Ridgecrest area. A couple small microquakes. Nothing going on along the Garlock fault structure, but notice here at the intersection of these major fault systems here, and that includes the San Andreas Fault, getting a couple small earthquakes here outside of the Fraser Park region. Major area of, well, a lot of intermingling there between a couple different fault systems. It's a pretty sensitive area. Down here into the southern part of the state, Loma Linda area, seeing a swarm of movement. Mostly microquakes, but look, notice the earthquake depths there, about 13 kilometers or so for some of that movement. Pretty deep earthquake activity in the southern part of the state once again. Arizona, New Mexico, pretty quiet. Texas as well. I know we got some tornado warnings going on out here. Looks like, I think it was outside of the Lubbock area, but either way, these guys getting quite a bit of rainfall, much needed for the drought conditions that have been ongoing out there. New Madrid zone did see a 1.3 earthquake. That earthquake striking late last night in the area of the Hayward, Missouri area, and the Virginia region seeing a 2.3 again late last night. No subsequent activity this afternoon. All older movement there along the New Madrid and the eastern part of the country. Puerto Rico Trench did see low activity this morning again, this afternoon kicking up here, 4.6 at 10 kilometers. This area has seen a little bit of swarming kicking up around the region of the Puerto Rico Trench. Got to watch that pretty closely. And some movement down here around the southwestern portion as well kicking up. South America, only one lonesome, lonely earthquake during the Bolivia area, but a deep one, 4.4 at 217 kilometers. So not a whole lot going on in the South America region. South Sandwich Islands did see another earthquake of 5.3 earlier this afternoon at about 10 kilometers. So quite a bit of movement and subduction going on here at some of the deeper levels, some of the shallower levels here along the South Sandwich Islands. It is an area that did see that 8-pointer kick up last year, and quite a few other large ones as well within this region. So still seeing some adjustment going on down there around the Scotia Sea area. Let's see what we got for Hawaii. Noticing a little bit of activity here along the North American and the Pacific Plate boundary. No major swarming to report. Just a couple small microquakes outside the region there. and activity around Japan, just a little spotty. Latest quake here in this area of the globe shows a 4.3 around the Philippines, although pretty deep, 160 kilometers there for that 4.3 earthquake. Getting a swarm of activity once again on the southern end of the Philippine Trench. A lot of that movement deep, 150 kilometers for the 4.7. A couple other shallow earthquakes there, but all somewhat pretty deep within that region. We have seen continued activity around the Vanuatu area south into this little horseshoe bend, where we always see typical large-scale movement. Looks like the latest earthquake here was a 4.5 earlier this afternoon into the Fiji Islands region, but 564 kilometers for that 4.5. That's a pretty deep earthquake. Kind of been ongoing there over the past couple days. Haven't seen any further push here to the west. No major earthquake activity to report, although I'm sure pressure is definitely building here throughout the China and the Myanmar area, along the Java Trench as well. It's got to be building there pretty significantly. It all seems to be halting right here at a concrete wall, so to speak, if you can imagine it, imaginary line, with activity just building here consistently, with no subsequent large-scale movement in this area. Got to watch that pretty closely, folks. Let's see what else we got. Yellowstone National Park. Let's go ahead and check out the movement or lack of movement here. Looks like there's a whole lot of nothing going on. To be honest, nothing going on really, folks, in that area of the world. Yellowstone National Park. Let's go ahead and get back to the Tremor map and check out some volcanoes into the Pacific Northwest. Check out Mount St. Helens here. Has been an ongoing area of interest recently. Nothing being reported from these folks here at the government agency, or at least the PNSN network, since the 13th. But we all know a little bit better than that, don't we? We've been seeing the seismograph activity kick up quite a few earthquakes, and we haven't counted every single one. I mean, if we were to count just over the last couple hours, well, that's probably more fingers and toes than I have on my person here. So definitely a pretty good swarm continuing throughout the evening time frame. Looking back throughout the afternoon time frame as well. Again, consistent earthquake activity here at Mount St. Helens. No magma intrusion, no harmonic tremor. Just an ongoing earthquake swarm that's been, like I said, been going on here for a couple weeks now. We can go back, days prior. But if you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I talk about this every single time. It's been an ongoing event. Those are earthquakes taking place, and they're pretty persistent. Let's check out Mount Rainier. Looks like there was some activity reported throughout the day yesterday. We'll go ahead and check out the latest recorded seismograph station here, and about the same, right? This is Mount Rainier, still showing some activity. It looks about the same as Mount St. Helens, so pretty active, and that kind of makes a little bit of sense with the ongoing tremor activity throughout the Pacific Northwest. Same for the early morning, late afternoon time frame. Some earthquakes popping up there on the map, and that's just over the past 24 hours. Earthquakes Canada, go ahead and pop in here and see if these guys are reporting anything different. Nada. I'm surprised these guys are come to a stop. Maybe they're on vacation. I don't know. Is there a vacation going on up there, or national holiday in Canada that I'm not aware of? They've been stuck here with the latest quake since about the 20th of May. We're at that 2.7. I'm sure there's got to be some earthquake activity popping up, over the past 3 days. Go ahead and check out the solar weather activity here and see what's going on with the latest movement and activity ramping up here on the sun. Solar activity is still kicking up pretty sufficiently. We're looking at 3014 and all this massive sunspot activity, which was pretty dramatic in terms of, viewing it, but it didn't do anything significant. It just kind of floated across the disk there and provided us with a, some beautiful photography, I'm sure, with the solar photographers, but it didn't produce any major activity. It's now kind of facing towards or at least away from us. What's coming around the bend? A couple other developing sunspots. 3021 looks like it may be popping up a little bit, growing. A new development here on the eastern limb. 3020 as well. But man, it just kind of it is what it is, right? Someone did ask me about why do we see these sunspots here really close to the equator, I guess, if you think on terms of the sun here. Why don't we see them further up north? Well, there's actually a pretty cool article put out on why that happens. And I'm not going to go over that right now, but I will include it here in the link. It will be in the description below if you guys want to check that out. A couple folks asking me, how come we always see sunspots around the equator there of the sun? How come they're not up north? How come they're not down south? Well, as we get towards the solar maximum, they tend to stick to this certain area here, this latitude region on the sun, and that's just how it is. As far as the magnetic polarities and whatnot of the sunspots, they tend to stick within this level. But I will include it, folks, in the description below for those that were kind of curious about it. So I do appreciate you guys asking questions. That's what it's all about, and I will definitely try to help if I can. Let's see, May 22nd, this update, that was from yesterday. Not a whole lot of threat potential right now. We're only looking at 5% chance of an X flare. M flare dropping down to 40%. C flare at about 99% certainty. But man, there's just not a whole lot of hope in producing any major flaring currently. Looking at the latest activity map here, the solar flare detection map shows well, pretty well declining solar flux data. It looks like it's going to about ready to slip below the sea level. Haven't seen any M flares in a couple days. No major coronal holes facing us. No major CMEs have been produced. So therefore, the aurora forecast looks pretty minimal across the globe, but only about 20% chance here at higher latitudes. Very calm conditions there. See if I can speak something into existence here. Maybe I can jinx us and get a X flare kicking up. Who knows? It's calm, folks. Very calm. All right. See what else we got. What else we got. Oh yeah, real quick special announcement. I have added on memberships. Okay, this is a little sensitive comment or a little sensitive statement here, so I don't want anybody to take offense. But we have opened up the membership for this channel, meaning that if you wish to join as a special member, it's called a super fan. You are more than welcome to join. You do not have to. But those that do join, it is $3.99 a month. That's it. Those folks are going to be getting some extra background stuff, extra background videos, and that includes some behind-the-scenes content here that we normally don't show. A lot of people don't want to see it. A lot of people don't want to see what's going on in my backyard or my garden or what I'm doing in my personal life. They just want to know, give me the earthquake report, and that's it. And that's fine. Nobody is obligated to join this channel and pay a membership fee. But if you want to and get those extra perks, that includes extra emojis and icons, and like I said, behind the scenes extra weather feature content, then please join. That is your choice. You do not have to. I'm not twisting anyone's arm, but it is there for an option, and I think a lot of people do like it. They want to say, hey, you know what? I like these guys. I want to kind of know more about them. I want to see maybe what their personal life is about. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're kind of opening the door. You may see us on the member-only content. Me and Missy Mimi's hanging out. It could be just a day at the lake. It could be just hiking. We do a lot of hiking events and whatnot. And who knows? It might just be me and her barbecuing. We might post up just what we're barbecuing for dinner. But either way, it's going to be content aside from the typical earthquake and volcano update, space weather related stuff. So those who want to, please do. Those who do not want to, you don't have to. Nothing's going to change. No content's going to be different for those of the typical subscribers here on the channel. Everything's going to remain the same. But extra stuff, extra perks, extra behind the scenes stuff for those members that do join. And it's not a major lot. A lot of people charge $20 a month, $10 a month, $3.99 a month for extra content, extra items behind the scene. I think it's well worth it if you guys want to. Not twisting anyone's arm, so please don't think I do or will do that, because I can't. I'm like way over here. Anyway, guys, let's see what else we got. I think that's about it. Like I said, I just wanted to make that quick announcement there. YouTube is giving me the option to go ahead and add members here that wish to. I will be adding special perks. So the icons right now are the standards here for YouTube, the extra icons and emojis. But man, I get hiccups. Somebody was saying that it sounded like I was out of breath there. Actually, quite a few folks were commenting on my last night's video. But sometimes I get hiccups, like right in the middle of the show, and I'm not for sure what all that means, because I've been drinking quite a bit of water and whatnot. But man, just hiccups come and go. But yeah, coming soon, we will be definitely adding some extra emojis. Oh, I forgot to turn off the earthquake notification here on the bell. Hopefully that did not kick up too strong, because if it did, I'm sure it probably blocked off my my voice. But anyway, we'll see how it goes, folks. It is an option. It's not mandatory. Looks like there was a couple earthquakes down here in the Gulf of California, reported by the EMSC model, not from the USGS. So some earthquake activity striking up here along the plate boundary of the Pacific North American plate. And that's kind of a telltale sign there of some possibly a reversing of that teeter-totter effect that we always talk about here on the channel. Again, not into predicting earthquakes, folks. I don't do it here on this channel, and I definitely tell you guys I don't. There's obviously areas that we like to watch in terms of swarm and deep earthquake activity. Obviously, if you look at plate dynamics, we learned it in high school, middle school. Plate tectonics is easy to understand, and it's not forecasting an earthquake. It's taking a look at the general movement of the plates, how deep earthquake activity affects the surface regions around the area, and we make decisions from there. We don't forecast earthquakes. We just kind of look at areas of interest and kind of point out areas that we maybe possibly need to watch. But as far as saying, hey guys, there's going to be a mega quake right here at the southern end of the Philippine plate, give me 8 days, it's going to happen. No, that doesn't happen here on this channel, guys. So I've seen a couple negative comments out here today on a few of the videos, but it's all good, right? Don't need to give them any support when it comes to their activity. All right. On that note, I'm going to bounce out of here, folks. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their evening, and just stay safe out there. And have a good night. Peace out, guys.